Hi, and welcome to the Ambient iPad. Let's make some music. On the couch again today because just using the iPad, no external controllers or hardware of any type. So the point of being on an iPad, particularly the 11-inch one, is you can be portable and mobile. And speaking of being portable and mobile, today is going to be tape loop day. I was looking through the folder of all the apps I have and looking for something that I really haven't used at all, and one of them is Gauss by Bram Bos. This app is meant to emulate kind of old school tape looping, and it was developed in collaboration with German musician Heinbach. And this is not for Pertronics type of tape looping where you have two decks and the tape goes between the two and the play goes to the record head on the first, etc. This is more you took a piece of reel-to-reel tape, spliced it together, it's running through the tape machine, and you have, a pen or a pencil that kind of holds it in a distance. At least that's how I did it. I also did a bunch of tape things at home with portable cassette decks, and you'd put a piece of tape, like Scotch tape or masking tape, over the erase head so that you could just keep overdubbing and do interesting things with that. So let's open up Gauss. I am not an expert in this app by any stretch of the imagination, so I will explain it as well as I can, but there's a lot of features I'm not going to use. But just to start and give a little example before we get into creating a piece, I'm going to go down to 5 seconds with this, which is kind of Frippertronics territory. And let's open up a synth. I want to keep it in the Bram Bos family, so let's use Mononoke. Let's open that up. All right, let's get into the MIDI matrix and connect everything together right there. And so Gauss is not really, you don't set that up in the MIDI matrix and apeMatrix, you choose it. We want to record into it, so we'll go like that. Let's open it up again. And what do we got here? All right, we need something that is, let's just go all the way to the bottom. All right, let me just start with this and try. So what we want to do is hit record. We want to do overdub because we do want to do overdubs. And there's no exact way to do this, just like with the traditional tape loop. You have to kind of watch the cursor go along, and when it gets to the beginning, I mean, it really doesn't matter because it's a loop. All right, so as you can hear, we got the loop going. I'm going to turn record off. There's other options here on the left. Sync we'll use because there's actually a sequencer in here. It's more like a rhythmic gate that kind of chops things up. And because typically a tape loop like this, to get the exact seconds down and the beats to match things up is a fool's errand. Although there's folks out there that can do it, their brains are way more evolved than mine. You have 1989 over here too on the left. That's supposed to, you can hear it kind of lowers the bit rate, makes it more like a cheap tape deck from the 80s, 1989. Let's turn that back off. Let me show about the sequencer here. First off, let's get some inertia, which is kind of the, reel-to-reel decks, tape decks, depending on the voltage that we're receiving, may go a little slower or a little faster, so the inertia controls that. And then the warble, of course, is the age of the tape. Is the tape stretched? We'll just use a teeny bit of that. Over here, there's also some filter stuff going on here that you can do. All right, that's an example of that. There is delay built in now. You're not really going to hear it that well because this is more of a soundscapey thing, but we can play around with the time and get some interesting sounds. Oh, I should say with the filter section, you do have option of a band pass and a high pass and a low pass. So let's use a sequencer. I'm going to double tap the loop length to turn it into beats. I'm going to lower the tempo on here because it does use the clock of apeMatrix, so you can kind of hear that in the background. Even though there's nothing really rhythmic. I mean, there is a organic rhythmic quality to what I got here. So let's go to trigger. So you can kind of hear now it's got a clock going, and we can adjust the steps. Let's make this a fifth above. It's not really a fifth above. Five semitones. You can change the trigger too. So depending if it's triggered by the clock or you're really just chopping up the loop and back to off. But one of the interesting things you can do, let's start the sequencer. apeMatrix. Okay. Now let's add drums. Yeah, we'll just stick with that kit. Now let's get the reverb up here. Add a bit of delay to the snare. A little more feedback. A little drive to the bass drum. Same thing with the clap, even more delay. All right, actually let's go in here. Sync is on. We need to trigger the drum machine, so Rozeta XOX is good. I'll just build a quick beat. MIDI matrix. You'd think I'd have the MIDI matrix down by now with the amount of... I go through this on almost every video, right? I have to go in here, so Rozeta needs to trigger that. Snare. Just your basic. All right. Just a basic rhythm here, but you can hear. That's a little loud though. Let's mix this volume down. You know what? Let's get the snare a little slightly to the right and the clap a little to the left. All right. Turn those down. So we'll just play around with a few things here to see. And then you can change, obviously you can make new patterns, you can just go into the randomize and generate it. Now there's other cool things on Gauss. If you see the little strip here on the bottom, you can make changes to the speed. You can go all the way up, keeps it in the rhythm, same tempo beat. Now where things get really cool is when you go down low. So let's go to 50%. mutate the sequencer too, so add a little bit of randomness into it. So I mean, that's essentially generate a new random pattern. It's essentially the basis of a tune you can use. All right, let's turn the drums off so we can get more to the ambient bit here. Actually, let's just turn the sequencer off. And let's turn this sequencer off on Gauss too, and you can hear how this changes. It becomes a lot more ambient, a lot more spaciousness. And then we can bring it back. Of course, you get that same kind of real tape sound and feel of changing speeds. So, in a nutshell, that's a lot of the capabilities. You can create these really neat, evolving soundscapes, put rhythm to it, use this as a bed for a track. What I'd like to do now is kind of zero everything out, initialize everything, and let's do a live jam with Gauss. We'll bring some drums in. So that's Gauss, a great tape loop app that you can use to make these evolving ambient soundscapes. You can change the mood and the timbres just by playing around with the different settings, particularly the speed, which completely changes the mood. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your own music.